You meet someone at a party. They smile, shake your hand, tell you their name. 5 seconds later, it's gone. You're standing there nodding, hoping nobody asks you to introduce them to anyone else. Or maybe it happens at work. A coworker walks by, you recognize the face instantly, you remember where you met them, what project they worked on, maybe even a conversation you had months ago. But the name? Completely blank. If this happens to you, you've probably wondered whether something is wrong with your memory. Maybe you're getting older, maybe you're becoming more forgetful, maybe your brain just isn't as sharp as it used to be. But here's the strange part. Your memory may be working much more normally than you think. So why does this keep happening? What if the real reason isn't that your brain is failing you, but that it's following a set of rules that most people never notice? My name is Zaki, and in this video, we're going to look at the neuroscience and psychology behind why names, faces, and small everyday details slip away so easily, and why this kind of forgetting is very different from the type that should actually concern you. By the end, you'll understand what's happening inside your brain during that awkward 5-second gap, and a few simple shifts that can make a surprising difference. Let's start with what happens the moment someone tells you their name. Picture this. You're being introduced to someone new. In that moment, your brain isn't processing just one piece of information. It's taking in their face, their voice, their expression, the environment around you, what you're about to say next, and how the interaction is going. Memory researchers have found that names are uniquely difficult to remember compared to many other things we learn about a person. Why? Because a name is what psychologists often describe as relatively arbitrary information. Think about it. There's no obvious connection between the sound Steve and the person standing in front of you. His face doesn't naturally explain why he's called Steve. The name doesn't automatically connect to anything meaningful in your existing knowledge. Now compare that to learning that he recently moved from Chicago, works as a teacher, or owns 3 dogs. Those details instantly connect to other ideas, memories, and images already stored in your mind. They have hooks. A name often doesn't. This idea is demonstrated by something known as the Baker-Baker paradox, one of the most well-known findings in memory research. In a classic experiment, people were shown the same photograph of a man. One group was told that his name was Baker. The other group was told that he was a baker by profession. Later, participants were far more likely to remember that he was a baker than that his name was Baker, even though both groups heard exactly the same word. The difference wasn't the word itself. It was the meaning attached to it. The profession baker automatically activates images, experiences, smells, places, and associations. The name baker doesn't create those same connections. So when you forget someone's name moments after hearing it, it usually isn't because your memory system is broken. Often, it's because the information never formed a strong enough memory in the first place. But even that isn't the whole story. Because sometimes the problem isn't that the name was difficult to remember, it's that your brain never really got the chance to store it at all. And that brings us to attention. Think about the last time you were introduced to someone. What were you actually focused on? For many people, it isn't the name. It's making a good impression. It's deciding what to say next. It's wondering whether you're being awkward. It's managing the conversation. Researchers who study attention consistently find that our mental resources are limited. We can only focus on so many things at once. And in social situations, most of that attention is often spent managing the interaction itself. The name becomes background information. In other words, sometimes you weren't fully listening to the name in the first place, and you can't reliably remember information that never received enough attention to be properly encoded. This is also one reason faces tend to stick around longer than names. The human brain has specialized systems that are remarkably good at recognizing faces. In many cases, facial recognition happens with very little conscious effort. Names are different. Remembering a name usually requires a more deliberate step. It often needs attention, repetition, or some kind of meaningful association. And during a brief introduction filled with social pressure, that step can easily be missed. Here's where things become even more interesting. Some researchers argue that forgetting isn't simply a flaw in the system. In many situations, it's actually a feature. Your brain is constantly filtering information, prioritizing what seems useful, and letting go of what appears less important. If every tiny detail received equal treatment, your mental resources would quickly become overwhelmed. And this same pattern shows up far beyond names. Think about how often people forget where they left their keys, or whether they locked the door, or what they walked into the kitchen to get. At first glance, these moments feel like memory failures, but many of them begin as attention failures. You put your keys down while replying to a message. You walked into the kitchen while thinking about tomorrow's meeting. You locked the door while mentally replaying a conversation. The information never received your full attention, and because it wasn't strongly encoded, there's very little to retrieve later. As memory researchers sometimes describe it, this isn't a withdrawal from an empty account. It's a deposit that was never fully made. This distinction matters because it helps separate normal forgetting from something more serious. Occasionally forgetting a name, misplacing your keys, or struggling to recall a word happens to people of all ages. These experiences are generally considered a normal part of how attention and memory work. What tends to be more concerning is a different pattern altogether: repeatedly forgetting entire conversations, getting lost in familiar places, or having difficulty performing tasks you've done for years. Those situations deserve professional medical attention. But for most people, the frustrating everyday lapses that create anxiety fall firmly within the range of normal human memory. So if the issue isn't simply that your memory is failing, what can you actually do about it? The answer researchers keep returning to is surprisingly simple. Focus on encoding, not memorizing. When someone tells you their name, don't wait until later to remember it. Process it immediately. Repeat it back. Use it naturally in conversation. Connect it to someone you already know. Create a mental image. Give your brain something meaningful to attach to. The same principle works for everyday tasks. When you put your keys down, notice the moment. When you walk into a room, pay attention to your purpose before your mind drifts elsewhere. The quality of attention at the moment information arrives often matters more than the effort spent trying to recover it later. And maybe that's the most comforting part of all this. The thing many people interpret as a personal flaw, forgetting a name while remembering everything else about a person, isn't necessarily evidence that their brain is slowing down. In many cases, it's evidence that the brain is doing exactly what it evolved to do: prioritizing meaning over noise, connections over labels, understanding over raw data. Maybe the goal was never to remember every name perfectly. Maybe the goal is simply to be present enough in that one small moment to truly hear it the first time.